But you're thinking it. Go ahead, out with it.
Oh, really, Darren?
Go ahead, say it.
Elizabeth Montgomery, beloved star of Bewitched, was a face of charm, sparkling nose twitches, and the whimsical spales. There was a story that only a handful of insiders knew. Despite her professionalism, Elizabeth harbored a strong dislike for one of her co-stars, and the reasons for complicated working relationships, especially with Dick York, the first actor to play her husband, Darren Stevens. When Bewitched first aired in 1964, television audiences were captivated by its originality. At its heart was the enchanting Samantha Stevens, a witty suburban witch trying to live a normal life, elegance, and timeless television magic. But behind the laughter, and her husband Darren, a mortal advertising executive determined to keep their home free of magic, Elizabeth Montgomery and Dick York brought these characters to life with undeniable chemistry. Their performances struck a rare balance, romantic yet humorous, whimsical yet grounded in reality. Their timing was impeccable, a simple scene of Samantha casting a spell followed by Darren's incredulous reactions could send audiences into fits of laughter. Yet beneath the comedy was an authentic tenderness. It was their believable love story that transformed Bewitched into one of the most beloved sitcoms of the 1960s. Montgomery's Samantha was radiant, lighthearted but strong, mischievous but relatable. Her animosity only came to light decades later. Today, we explore the drama, the on-set struggles, and the real story of Elizabeth Montgomery's York's Darren, meanwhile, embodied the everyman bewildered by magic but deeply devoted to his wife. Together, they represented more than just a sitcom couple. They symbolized compromise, trust, and partnership wrapped in a layer of comedy and fantasy. Even in the most outlandish scenarios, nosy neighbors discovering spells or Samantha's meddling mother-in-law stirring up chaos, their marriage remained the emotional core of the show. Off-screen, Montgomery and York shared a professional rapport, though not close friends outside of work. Their mutual respect translated seamlessly into their performances. York often praised Montgomery, saying her presence elevated his craft. She, in turn, admired his ability to keep Darren both relatable and lovable. But beneath this professional harmony was a reality that would soon create cracks in the show's foundation. York had been battling a debilitating back injury since 1959. When an accident on the set of They Came to Cordura left him with torn muscles and damaged vertebrae, the pain never fully healed. By the time Bewitched began filming, he was living with constant discomfort, often relying on prescription painkillers just to keep working. The grueling production schedule, the hot lights, and the physical demands of comedy scenes pushed him to his limits. Some nights he was in unbearable agony, only to return to the set the next morning determined to perform. Elizabeth Montgomery quickly noticed his struggles. Known for her compassion, she often advocated for York behind the scenes, suggesting subtle changes to blocking or camera angles that would ease his workload. She didn't make dramatic gestures or public complaints, but her quiet support allowed York to continue far longer than doctors thought possible. Yet the toll was undeniable. By the show's 5th season, York's health had deteriorated so severely that one day, he collapsed on set. It was a terrifying moment for cast and crew alike. His doctors were clear continuing could lead to permanent disability or worse. York was forced to leave Bewitched in 1969, bringing an end to one of television's most iconic partnerships. Replacing York was no easy task. Producers brought in Dick Sargent to step into the role of Darren Stevens, and though Montgomery handled the transition with her usual professionalism, something was lost. The unique rhythm she had shared with York, those subtle glances, that unspoken timing couldn't be replicated. Fans noticed, and while the show continued to enjoy success, the golden spark of its earlier years dimmed. York, for his part, never expressed bitterness toward Montgomery. In later interviews, he praised her kindness and spoke warmly of their time together. Even as his health failed, he remembered her as a colleague who had made his work possible when his body was failing him. After leaving Bewitched, York's career slowed dramatically. His chronic pain and reliance on medication made steady acting humanitarian work. founding a charity called Acting for Life to support the homeless. Despite his own suffering, he remained committed to helping others. Sadly, his health only worsened. Years of smoking left him with emphysema, and by the late 1980s, he was confined to bed. Yet even then, he continued to connect with fans, offering gratitude and warmth whenever he could. On February 20th, 1992, Dick York passed away at the age of 63. His death marked the end of a career that, while tragically shortened, left a lasting mark on television history. To this day, his version of Darren Stevens is remembered as the quintessential sitcom husband, flustered yet loving, exasperated yet devoted, jobs impossible. By the 1980s, he shifted his focus to humanity. Elizabeth Montgomery's journey, meanwhile, extended far beyond Bewitched. Born into a family of actors, she grew up surrounded by Hollywood influence, but her rise was not simply due to connections. She trained at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York, honing the skills that would make her one of television's most versatile performers. After Bewitched ended in 1972, Montgomery made it her mission to break free from typecasting. She deliberately chose roles that showcased her dramatic range. In A Case of Rape, 1974, she played a woman fighting for justice after a brutal assault, a role that earned her critical acclaim. In The Legend of Lizzie Borden, 1975, she stunned audiences with her chilling portrayal of the infamous accused murderer. Both projects proved that Montgomery was far more than Samantha Stevens. She was a fearless actress unafraid to tackle difficult, socially charged roles. Off-screen, Montgomery was equally bold. She was a dedicated activist, championing women's rights, reproductive freedom, and support for victims of domestic violence. She also lent her voice to AIDS research and homelessness advocacy. Unlike many celebrities of her era, she wasn't afraid to risk her image by supporting controversial causes. She believed fame came with responsibility, and she lived by that belief until her final days. Looking back, the story of Elizabeth Montgomery and Dick York is one of contrasts on screen. Perfection against off-screen struggle, magical comedy masking very real pain. Montgomery may have disliked certain co-stars at different points, but when it came to York, her respect and quiet compassion were undeniable. Together, they created television history, even as his body was breaking down behind the scenes. In the end, their story reminds us that the magic of television that continued to shine York as the beloved everyman husband of one of TV's great. Television often comes at a cost. The laughter, the love, the timeless moments on screen are often born from actors pushing through unimaginable difficulties. For York, it was a battle with chronic pain. For Montgomery, it was the challenge of balancing her iconic role with her deeper ambitions as an actress and activist. Yet both left behind legacy sitcoms, and Montgomery as the witch who changed television and used her influence to change the world.